Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you so much for tuning in to Trailhead Live for our weekly Monday motivation session. My name is Shirlene Chow. I'm Senior Director on Trailhead, and you can find me on Twitter at Shirlene Chow. And with me is a special guest this week named Mark Welty, and he's Senior Writer here at Salesforce on the Q Branch team. And you can also find him on Twitter at Ilfono. So we're super excited to have an awesome session today to share some mindfulness and meditation best practices. We'll also go into a guided meditation. But first, I want us to hear a little bit more about Mark's story. So Mark, tell me a little bit more about how you started meditating.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Shirlene. I started meditating through creative visualization. When I was a younger child, we were a family that played golf, and I had a good technical swing, and I could hit the ball a long way. But when we would actually play, my mom could get inside my head and beat me, and it didn't sit well. And my father saw that, and he used it as a teaching moment and gave me this book called Psycho-Cybernetics, which is a famous book from the last century. And essentially what it was is creative visualization. So I started getting I was curious about what is this thing called creative visualization and meditation, and how can I use it? I mean, can I get better grades at school? Can I do things with it? And over time, I meditated not religiously as a teenager, of course, but then in my 20s, I dabbled in some Zen practices and assumed some austere practices in my life. But it didn't really happen until about 10, 12 years ago when I was teaching yoga. And I was teaching a rather vigorous physical class. And then I started to introduce a mindfulness or a meditation at the end of the class. And people really loved that. They would come up and thank me for the meditation. They would say, "Hey, I don't do this on my own. It's only 5 minutes, but I just will never do it. So thank you for bringing it in." So I started to develop that, and it just started to snowball. So it's kind of been a lifelong practice, but only with some real seriousness in the last 10 years.
I love that. I love that personal story you just shared from childhood, and you're really now growing this practice into your daily life now. So I also hear that you lead Sitforce here at Salesforce. Can you share a little bit more about your approach to organizing it and also helping guide others in their meditation practice?
Sure. So Sitforce is a chatter group. It's I don't know, got 700 or 800 members now. And I post a lot of things there that are meditation related. I also allow mindfulness at Salesforce, and then a couple of other people who are meditation oriented to post there. And anybody can post there, really. I started it because while we hear a lot about meditation and mindfulness at Salesforce, I was finding that on the grassroots level, it was kind of sparse. So when Sitforce started, I had a group of people showing up 2 or 3 times a week on Salesforce East, the 26th floor, in the mindfulness room. And we would sit there we would say hi, take off our shoes, sit for 15 minutes, and then chit chat, and then go back to work. And after a while, this started to practice, and started to snowball again. And I became kind of like an unofficial, "Hey, there's Mr. You're the meditation guy." And it's just kind of funny. People would ask me, stop me in the lobby and say, "I like what you're doing, but I don't know how to do it." So I wrote this book, Seeds for Contemplation. And I published about, 200 of them, distributed them around HQ in the New York and the Sydney offices and other posts where there was a dedicated meditation person. And it's just grown from there. And so now I'm even leading meditations at SICs and all hands and QBRs. So it's kind of just an organic growth. But it's at base, it's just to help people and support people who are interested and or on their way with a practice, and to find some frequency and some other voices to share with.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I love that you are the meditation guy at Salesforce, and that's also how I found you. I happened to be checking out our meditation resources here at the company and found a couple of your recordings and saw your daily meditation series. So thank you for helping so many of us here at Salesforce either start or grow our own meditation practices.
Well,
So
Shirlene, I
Mhm.
just wanted to say, because I really believe that meditation is it's a life technology. Just like we go to the gym to stay healthy physically, we can use meditation as a process, as a practice that helps us lead more valuable, more enjoyable lives. And one of the places we spend 8 hours a day at work, why not make it a little bit more enjoyable,
I
a
love
little more productive?
Yeah, absolutely. I know my focus is better when I meditate regularly, consistently.
Right.
Given your experience, can you tell us a little bit more about what advice you have for practitioners tuning in today?
Yeah. So, if you're just starting out, I think it's important to not expect too much. Here in America, we've got big ideas, big dreams, big hopes, and everything now. Meditation doesn't really work that way. It does work, but it works in a slower lane. So if you're just starting out, start with just a breath. Notice a breath. I mean, if you don't mind, let's just do a quick experiment. Close your eyes. Check in. How do you feel? Do you feel anything? Now let's all take a deep breath in through the nose. Fill the chest with air. Hold the breath at the top of your inhale. Release the jaw and then slowly let the air back out of your nose and reopen your eyes. I would bet that you're feeling a little calmer now, that you're a little bit more aware of your body, and that there's just a slight gap between you and the stimulus around you. Now, in that gap is an enormous freedom for you to make better responses to whatever is coming at you. So you can start with just a breath before every meal, or let's say 30 seconds of silence before every meal will do an enormous amount of good. And do that for a week or two. After that, start your morning after you wake up and get out of bed. Start your morning sitting somewhere in a chair, on the floor, and sit there for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. It will change the way you operate throughout the day. And like I said, you don't have any great expectations or any great transformations to happen, but they have faith in the process that it will happen.
Hey, Mark. So, what if I'm starting out, and even if with 2 minutes a day during this time and crisis we're in, I've got a lot of thoughts in my head. How do I kind of clear my mind for that?
Yeah, that's one thing, is that people, you'll always hear, oh, my mind is too busy for that. Well, everybody's mind is too busy for that. And that's what meditation helps address. So as you're sitting there, if you're sitting for more than, the space of a breath, if you're sitting there for a minute even, the thing to do is not engage with the thoughts. You can't chase them away because they're going to come right back. You can push them off to the side, but they're going to come right back front and center. The trick is having faith in understanding that they will dissipate. Now, something else may come, a minute later, or a few seconds later. But if you breathe into your body and into your head, you seem to develop a resistance. The stimuli, the ideas will start to slow down, and they will start to dissipate on their own. And we all are very busy. But if you sit and just let the thoughts occur, after a while, the thoughts will become less frequent, less weaker, and allow you to enter into some other state of no thought. And that's tricky. It sounds like you meditate and you've probably been there.
Yeah, I know that's a common question a lot of people have, so I think that's some really great advice.
And then finally, we have to develop this into a practice. It has to become a discipline. I know that's a taboo word in California, but it really has to become a commitment. And when you commit to it, you can measure it. So you could even make yourself just a little grid. Did I meditate Monday? Did I meditate Tuesday? And if you check off those boxes, you'll find that in the space of a week, even space of 2 weeks, things will appear differently for you. You'll make better choices about what you put in your mouth, how you eat. You'll make better choices about your hygiene, about everything. I'd have friends who'd say that when they started meditating, bread and alcohol went out of their diet. They didn't even have to make a conscious choice. They just chose better. And then they realized about a week later, wow, I'm not eating bread. I lost 5 pounds and I'm not drinking as much. You just have to have faith in the practice. Also, if you're starting out, some people, I personally probably used music years ago, but I don't use it any longer. But if some type of ambient tones help you get into that space, help you to ease your mind, use music or a guided meditation. There's so many resources out there like Calm, Headspace, there are many available on YouTube as well. A guided meditation can help because it can be very frustrating to be out there feeling like you're alone in the wilderness. Like, where am I supposed to go? Well, a guided meditation can walk you in a good direction. And then again, I'm going to hammer this home. Consistency, commitment, discipline, it really counts. It's all in or it's a waste of time, kind of.
Yeah, I love your best practices here. I know for me personally, I use meditation music. I think last week I mentioned it in the session. I like to play from Spotify, and I use the playlist Peaceful Meditation. And I happen to have a Google Home in my kitchen or throughout my home. And I actually just keep peaceful meditation or peaceful piano kind of playing throughout the house. And so when I go to the kitchen to grab some water or a snack, I'll just hear that ambient noise. And what I like about it is it just kind of helps me to refocus and reminds me to find a moment of mindfulness throughout my day. So if you've got a Google Home or device at home, it's, try putting on some music throughout the day and see how it might change your ability to find those mindful moments.
Yeah, Shirlene, that's another important point is, meditation is great. It's wonderful, but you can practice mindfulness in so many other ways throughout the day, whether it's the way you chew your food, the way you walk to the kitchen, to the bathroom, anything you do, just take hyper attention to what you're doing at that moment. And that is, in essence, a mindfulness practice. I mean, it is a mindfulness practice, and it's kind of like a meditation. I won't call it meditation, but it's kind of like one.
I was making croutons last week, and I had my meditation playlist on, and I was like, and then I remember actively thinking, I am being mindful to croutons right now, and
I think you have a book there. So if it's okay with you, why don't we go into a meditation right now? Just a quick, brief meditation. That's something you can use throughout the week to bring greater clarity to your day, to your moment. So if I can ask everybody to please just sit up tall, scoot your butt back into the back of the chair. So your spine is perpendicular with the floor. Rest both soles of your feet onto the floor. Let your arms relax somehow in front of you or in your lap, palms facing up. You want to kind of minimize any future physical discomfort so that you don't have that jostling around in addition to all the thoughts that accompany a meditation. So let's close our eyes and take a deep breath in through the nose and out. Take another breath, whether it's deep or not, and focus, so bring your awareness to the sensation of breathing. Note the humidity of the breath you're inhaling. Feel it rush over your nasal passage down your throat. Feel your lungs expand, your chest expand. Go ahead and nod the head left and right, forward and backward. Loosen up the neck. And then return the head back to our natural resting spot. We're going to let the breath become a little more automatic now as we focus on releasing any tension that may be in the crown of the head. Let the forehead go slack. Again, relax the eyes, the temples. Let the jaw go slack. And let the tongue rest gently, touching the upper backside of your teeth. In this posture, in this pose, we can breathe quite easily and seek physical ease. Let from your waist down appear heavy so that you are grounded into your sit, and let the upper part of the body feel as if you were filled with helium reaching up toward the ceiling. Now, as thoughts enter your brain, as expressions, emotions tangle their way into your forefront of your attention, just choose not to engage with them. As they appear, you can acknowledge them almost as if you were waving to them. Breathe into them and let them go away on their own. We're not here to solve problems. We're not even here to see problems. We're here just to observe what comes. Now, in a moment, I will stop talking and we will be silent for about a minute. You can let your breath become more natural, more shallow. If you feel yourself getting drowsy, that's okay too. And I'll see you in a minute. Let's take a deep breath in. Hold at the top of the breath. And on the exhalation, slowly open our eyes. And make the commitment to bring this little oasis of calm to the rest of your day and to the rest of your week. Whenever you feel you need it, take a breath, close your eyes. It's a tool that's available to you at any time. Keep it up. And yes, there are some resources here available. Again, as you mentioned, Shirlene, I do lead a daily meditation at 8:45 Pacific Standard Time. I'm leading it with two of our wonderful Finns serve people, Kathleen Segovia and Danielle Shepard. So it's a brief 15-minute meditation every morning. There's the link. You feel free to join us. And then also the book I mentioned, Seeds for Contemplation, is available as a PDF. And there's the link for that as well. And feel free, if you want to, contact me via Twitter at ilfauno. Shirlene?
Thank you so much, Mark. This was wonderful. I know I really enjoyed the guided meditation you led there, and I know I really needed it after, or starting and going into another long week. But yeah, this was great. Any last words or advice for our viewers today, Mark?
Only that, the times are going to supposedly here in the States are getting crazier for the next week or so. Take this opportunity to meditate, to find this oasis, to create this oasis a couple times a day. It really helps. And I wish you the best. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark. And thanks everyone for tuning in, no matter what region you're from. We're so excited to have you join us, and hopefully you learned something new today that you can continue to practice, and check out our resources as well. And we'll see you back here next Monday. Have a good week, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.